Today is Thursday, September 18th, 2025, and today we will be going over how you are already dateable. You're already ready for dates. You simply don't know how to get them yet, and I'm going to teach you how to get them today. Now, let me address firstly the comments about my volume being low. Apologize. You see, I've got the Rode wireless Go 2 mic. Does not allow me to increase the volume any more than this for YouTube Lives, so I know that it's low volume. You're just going to have to max it out and bear with me. If you're new here and you don't know who I am, my name is Ephraim. I'm 25 years old, and to keep things short and sweet, I used to have a shit dating life, and I used to be stuck on dating apps, going to nightclubs and bars, and it would take me 8 to 10 months at a time to get laid. 2.5 years later, I have no problem getting laid. I have more dates than I know what to do with. So many so that I'm giving out fake numbers while I'm here in London getting content for you boys. The way that I did that, I went from no dates to too many dates, was cold approach. And that is what I teach guys how to do. Over the last 2 years, I've developed a system. I called it the Quiet Confidence Playbook. And I take this system that I've developed and I've refined and I install it into the heads of my clients. I've already done it for multiple different clients in multiple different countries, different continents even. And now they've taken the skill set, they're flying with it, they're attracting hot girls, they're going on hot dates without using apps, without having to get drunk and go to nightclubs. And I typically work with introverted individuals. Okay, so let's discuss things. So let's clarify a few things, all right? So the first thing to clarify is the title says you are already dateable. But let me clarify what I mean by you. Every piece of content that I've ever made on this channel, every live stream, every video, every post, it is directed towards a certain kind of guy. All right. So I'm aware that guys that don't fit this archetype watch my content, but just realize that I'm not talking to those guys. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to a very specific kind of guy. And the guy that I'm talking to and I'm addressing in each and every one of my videos and live streams has these three criteria already met. All right. So the first is he likes the way he looks already. Yeah, so he doesn't look in the mirror and think I'm an ugly piece of shit. He doesn't think, oh, I'm not tall enough, I'm not buff enough, I'm not ripped enough, whatever. Yeah, he already has found a decent look to him and he's confident within himself to a baseline level. All right. The second criteria is he already has something about him as far as his career and his life circumstances. So I'm not talking to guys that are unemployed, to guys that are aimless, have no direction, have no purpose in life, and they're simply trying to hack their way into the sexual marketplace via cold approach, and they for some reason think that my content is going to get them there. It's not. I'm not talking to those guys. I'm talking to guys that already have a career on track, or at least they're real close to getting it on track. Most of my clients are already far into their career, or they've got a business that they're running, and they have finances sorted, they have life somewhat sorted, and they're moving in a good direction. So once again, I'm not talking to bottom tier humanity, low life losers that stay inside. They live in mom's basement, they get their rent paid for, they get their meals cooked for them, and they are not life responsible, self sustainable. Those are not the guys I'm talking to. All right. And the third criteria for the guys that I'm talking to, these are guys that have baseline level social skills, all right? Meaning they already know how to look people in the eyes, they already know how to hold a conversation, they already know how to socialize at a basic level, i.e., go outside and talk to people in general. I'm not saying they know how to approach, I'm not saying they know how to flirt, but they know how to hold a conversation. So I'm not talking to guys that grew up virtual in virtual reality. They spend all their time on the internet forums, Reddit posts, blogs, YouTube, and they never go outside. They can't look people in the eyes. They can't hold a conversation. I'm not talking to those guys. All right. My content is not directed to those guys. Those guys are welcome to consume it, and hopefully it helps them in some way. But my content's not for them. All right. So I just wanted to make sure that that's very clear, because that is the premise of this entire live stream. We have to understand that when I put you in all caps in the title, I'm not talking to every person that comes across the live stream, because I'm aware that some people that come across it do not fit this build, and I'm not talking to them. All right. But feel free to indulge anyways. I'm talking to guys that already have found a look and a style that they're comfortable with doesn't mean they're looks maxed, doesn't mean they're gym maxed. But when they look in the mirror, they go, yeah, all right, okay, we can work with this. All right, that's number one. Number two, I'm speaking to guys that already have something going for them in life, which means they're not $10,000, $20,000 in debt. They're not digging themselves into a hole. They don't have all their meals cooked for them and all their expenses paid for them by mommy and daddy. Those guys are not life responsible. I can't help those guys. This skill set is too difficult for a dependent to build. All right. And then the third criteria is the guy can actually socialize. All right. So the person that I'm speaking to has baseline social skills. They know how to hold a conversation, and rather than look down at their feet, fumble over their words, awkwardly talk, or not talk at all, you get the point, right? Okay. So now that that's cleared up, and you know who I'm talking to. So those of you who fit the build, you know that this is addressed to you. Those of you who don't fit the build, you know that you can listen along, but I'm not talking to you, all right? So now the next way that I'm going to address why you are already ready for a date. You're already fuckable. You're already dateable. The problem is you just don't know how to get the date yet. And that's me. That's where Ephraim comes in. That's why I've built a product, and that's what I deliver to my clients. All right. I fill that gap. The gap between an already dateable man who just doesn't know how to get to the date. I build the bridge, right? The Quiet Confidence Playbook is the bridge, and I'm going to explain why it's the bridge. But before I can explain why it's the bridge, I'm going to explain why you, as somebody that's already dateable, are not getting dates yet, okay? So here's why. The first thing we need to dive into is what we were told women respond to versus what they actually respond to, okay? So with some of my criteria, you'll notice it somewhat aligns with some of the stuff that was pumped into our heads growing up with this whole red pill manosphere content. At least for me, I'm 25. I came across the red pill rabbit hole when I was about 18. And so for the last until I found cold approach, so really about 5 to 6 years, I was pumping this content into my brain, and it did influence me to a certain extent. But what I can say is, usually I shit on it totally, right? Now, I definitely will say that there are some things that I agree with, right? So what I'm getting at here is the message behind the red pill movement is essentially to better yourself as an individual holistically, and that should give you a better chance with girls. That part I agree with, okay? The problem and the stuff I don't agree with are the content creators that take it way too far and they go, oh, it's not just better yourself so you have a better shot, it's you don't have a shot at all unless blank, blank, and blank is true, right? And they go, unless you're 6'2", unless you have X money in the bank, you have X body fat percentage, you have these big biceps. That is simply not true. You're a certain height, right? You got to be this height, and it's not true. And I'm living, breathing proof that it's not true. And let's dive into it a bit deeper, and then let's talk about what they actually respond to, and then I'll get into why you, a guy who's already dateable, yeah, already worthy of female attention. You are a guy that women already want to fuck. You just don't know how to present yourself in front of the women to give them the chance. Yeah, because they see you just like you see them, but they're not going to come over to you. You need to do that part. That's where my playbook comes in. But we'll get into that later, okay? So let's talk about what we were told they respond to versus what they actually respond to. All right, and there have been studies on this as well, right? There's this channel called Psych Hacks, which I used to like a couple years back, and he talks a lot about this, right? So this is a psychologist with a doctorate who isn't just he's not a therapist. he's a literal psychologist who helps both men and women and has been also immersed in this whole like interrelational dynamics for the last 20 years or so. And he goes into these topics in depth, all right? But to summarize my understanding of it, I was told growing up that I needed to be certain ways in order to attract girls. So firstly, when I was anywhere from 5 to 15 years old, I was consuming all this Disney Channel content. So what was communicated to me back then was that I needed to be a pushover, I needed to be a supplicating individual, I needed to be a romantic, I needed to kneel at the foot of women, I needed to be very subservient. I was taught that I was here, I was down here, and the woman was up here, and happy wife, happy life. And I can never disagree with the girl because the girl can do no wrong. And I must always give, give, give. I must make her life as easy as possible. I must open every car door. I must bring flowers on every date. That's what I was taught at first. All right. Now, hopefully, if you've come this far, if the algorithm has taken you this far, then hopefully you've already understood that that is very misguided advice, right? And doing that puts you in a very bad position, and which is probably why if you're if you're fresh off of that person, being that person, because that's who I was up until high school, then it's likely that up until this point in your life, you've been friend zoned by every girl you've tried to make any sort of romantic advances towards, right? So that's the first thing that I was taught, and so it's likely that you were taught something similar. But the next, right, that ended in smoke and flames because I remember I was doing all that with the girl that I loved back in high school, and I would always text her, always be checking up on her, right? Disney Channel told me I needed to show her that she's my number one priority, and so I'd always be texting her, always be trying to hang out with her. I remember um, yeah, they were telling me you got to make sure you tell her you're gonna marry her, this and that, and so that ended terribly, as you could imagine, right? And so then I swung hard the other way, right? So when I was 18, I was researching why is my heart broken? Why did the girl break my heart? Why this? Why that? And inevitably, as we all do, rite of passage, I come across the red pill rabbit hole when I'm about 18. And so at 18 years old, I spend the next 2 to 3 years binging all the red pill content that I can. I remember I was taking it as law, I was taking it as gospel, and I was trying to apply everything that I learned. And so I went from the subservient type guy all the way to the other side, and I became the what I thought was the alpha asshole type guy, right? Looking back on it, also very misguided, but at least it was putting me in a better position than the Disney Channel content, right? So the red pill content was teaching me some of these topics, which I'm sure you relate to or you also were taught, right? So it taught me that I had no shot at getting any girls unless I had my life um, completely sorted. And by completely, they were telling me that I needed to have a six-figure job and potentially six figures in the bank as far as savings before I had a shot at any girls. Yeah, I was being taught that I needed to look perfect. I needed to have, okay, obviously you're not 6'2" and instead you're 5'9" Ephraim, so you can't control that. But what you can control is how jacked you are, right? And so I was in the gym every day religiously. I was pushing myself through injuries I was putting as much weight on the bar as possible, stuffing my face with protein, I was taking all the supplements, right? Everything you can imagine, right? All the protein shakes and everything that goes with that. Trying to fast track my way to a huge physique. And honestly, I wasn't even as dedicated as I should have been if that was actually my priority. But at the very least, I was in the gym every day. I was running cardio. I was taking all the supplements and the protein powder and shit, trying to get jacked essentially, right? The pre-workout. And firstly, I didn't get anywhere close to jacked, but I did get a pretty decent physique, at least back then when I was 19 years old. I looked pretty good. I had some nice lean muscle on me. I was very defined. And that is what I was taught I needed to do if I wanted to get luck with girls. And so hopefully you're seeing now why this is problematic because these red pill guys, the content I was following and applying so closely, they were telling me that pushing iron inside of a gym would get me closer to getting dates with hotter girls. Okay? And I wonder how many of you can relate to this. So they were telling me that having six figures in the bank or at least a six-figure job plus being able to push more weight on a barbell in a gym was going to get me closer to banging hot girls. Now I'll admit, I would say it was getting me 1, 2, maybe 3% closer than not doing those things, right? So I would agree that having lean muscle makes me slightly more attractive than having no muscle, which is where I was before I discovered Red Pill. And having money in the bank puts me in a better position to pay for dates than having no money in the bank. I would agree there. But there's still a big gap that has yet to be filled with this theory, which is how do I get the date in the first place? Yeah. So it's great that I look sexy as fuck with my shirt off. Nice. It's great that I've got a six-figure remote programming job that I did get when I was 22 years old by following this red pill shit. Nice. But where do I source the actual dates themselves so that I can spend the money that I just worked my ass off getting in this remote programming job? And where do I source the dates themselves that I just spent all this time in the gym to impress once I finally get to the point where they're back at mine and I take my shirt off and I flex my pecs and my biceps? Where do the dates themselves come from? Right? It's like I got the muscle and the physique, nice. I got the six-figure remote programming job paying me out the fucking ass. Nice. I'm living in San Francisco. I have a nice spot. I got a roommate who's also pretty cool, at least at the time, right? I had a roommate. We live near Golden Gate Park. We go down to the Mission. We go down to the FiDi. We go down to North Beach to party, and we got a social life. We got friends. He was in college at the time, so he was inviting me out to parties and frat parties and shit. Nice. But with all of the muscle or the lean muscle I was able to build and all the money that I was stacking in my bank account, it didn't get me any closer to the dates themselves. So if for whatever reason a girl finally swiped right on me on a fucking dating app like Tinder, usually it was a fat chick anyways. Nice. So if that girl eventually came out, fat Susie came back to mine. Then when I took my shirt off, she could see that I was cut and defined. Or if she came back to mine, she could see that I had like a nice computer setup, which I guess showed high status, high income. I don't know. But the problem with the red pill ideology is they were teaching that working on exterior parts of your personality or exterior parts of your life in general, like income, like physique, like beard length and haircut and style. They were teaching that working on those areas would get you the dates themselves. But that's false. All right? They didn't get me any dates. They just made me look like myself slightly more when I looked in the mirror. They made me like myself slightly more when I looked at my bank account, but they didn't get me laid. They didn't get my little Willy Wonka sucked, did they? Yeah? They didn't get my Willy Wonka wet. No, doing the whole red pill rabbit hole, focusing on this area, didn't actually get the dates themselves. I still had to figure out how to do that. And so I was really pissed when I had the six-figure job, when I had the lean muscle, and then I still found myself at 9, 10, 11 p.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m. on a fucking Thursday night, swiping on Tinder and Bumble, buying Tinder Gold and increasing the radius and swiping unlimited swipes until I ran out of girls in the fucking deck. Yeah. Then I would have to buy Passport Tinder and do the cities nearby. Like I found myself really pissed off when I spent 3, 4, 5 years pursuing a career, pursuing a six-figure job, pursuing a nice physique, yeah, working on my style and my haircut and my beard length and shit, but not having any results to show for it. I was still getting about the same number of matches and about the same quality when they did match with me, which was slightly ugly, slightly fat girls. When I was broke washing windows compared to when I was working a programming job remotely making six figures, I was still getting about the same number of matches and the same quality of girls when they did match with me. Which means I guess what I'm getting at is 3 to 4 years of effort for very little return. Yeah. So it was about 4 years of effort in the gym, about 4 years of effort going from washing windows, which was a shit job, to making a six-figure income as a programmer. It was about 4 years of effort to go from one position to the other position. Yeah, if we include, the sales job in between, if we include the books that I was reading to be able to get to the position where I could learn this skill of programming, it was about 3 to 4 years of effort. Yet I was still going years, or at the very least, half a year at a time without getting laid. And when I finally did get laid, it was usually a fat and ugly girl. I probably would have been better off just buying a hooker, because at least the hooker would have been somewhat hot. But thankfully, I never stooped that low. Yeah, to this day, have never paid for pussy, never paid for play. So I do respect myself for that. But I just remember, just a few years back, I probably would have been better off just buying a hooker than swiping for 20 hours, 20 days, just to get a fat girl to finally message me back and come out on a date, right? And so it's so sad, right? But okay, so why am I drilling this so hard? Because I really want to unwrap the fallacy that we've been sold, which is build it and they will come, right? So the first fallacy was even more sinister, which was be subservient and they will love you, right? Be a bitch and they will love you. Yeah. Focus on love, focus on her happiness, focus on doing everything for her. She shouldn't have to lift a finger, and then they will love you. That is the first and more sinister fallacy. But then the second one, which most guys that believe in that, firstly, at first in life, they usually jump over to the red pill, so they go hard the other way. But then they believe yet another fallacy, which is build it and they will come. Okay, so what they're selling you is become a high value alpha male and they will come, and that's also garbage. All right, that's also bullshit because I got pretty close to that. Yeah, I can't say I was Mr. Top Dog, top G, but six figures at 22 is not too fucking bad, is it? At least it shouldn't be too. It shouldn't be so bad that I can't get laid for 10 months at a time, right? Lean muscle, six-figure remote income, living in San Francisco, population a million people, should not be too bad, right? It's not, in my opinion, at 22 years old, that's not too bad. Yet my dating life was too fucking bad. Yeah, was too bad. Oh my God, it was bad. How can that be the case? All right. So what I'm doing here is I'm shining a spotlight on the gap that was left, right? And what is the gap that we're talking about? Well, you've built the income, right? So now we're zeroing back on who I'm talking to, all right? So remember at the beginning of the live stream, I defined who I'm talking to. So more often than not, the person that's listening in fits this category. Yeah, so he's a guy that is fairly successful. Yeah, so just like me, 22 years old, high achiever, right? 22-year-old, six-figure income, remote job. Yeah, lean muscle. Somewhat, at least when we compare it to the average fucking guy modern day, that's a high achieving fuck, right? So that's who I was. Usually, my client is, or excuse me, always my client is that, but usually the guy who ends up reaching out for coaching for an application call, usually he also fits this build. So usually he's a guy that didn't have to be necessarily young and successful, but has reached some level of success. Yeah, so it's a guy who is either a current attorney or pursuing a career in law. It's a guy who, what's a more example? Data analyst, right? We got Isaac, so a guy who's a very technical, somewhat like engineering related background, right? So in this case for Isaac, data analyst. Right? I've got a guy out in LA, Sam, who I've coached about a month ago now, who owns his own business, right? So used to be a massage therapist, then went self-employed, now runs his own company, right? So that is another archetype of guy that I'm referring to. And these guys all fit a very similar theme, vastly different backgrounds, right? As far as ethnicity, as far as industry, but the theme is wildly successful individuals when you compare it to like average income or when you compare it to average Joe, right? Average Joe is like working 2 to 3 jobs, maybe door dashing on the side, maybe maybe working very low level sales job, or maybe working as a marketing guy. And I'm not shitting on these guys, right? If you've got the intangibles, then please click the button. But typically, the guy that I work with fits the criteria of a high achiever, right? And that's just in the career sense. Not to mention, they always look good, all right? So I've yet to have a fat fuck apply to work with me. and so by default, I've never coached a fat fuck, right? Not saying that you're a bad person, but how we do most things, how we do one thing is how we do most things. And so a guy that is severely obese probably doesn't think much of himself, all right? And so probably couldn't build the skill set anyways. So why am I reiterating this right now? It's because the clients that fit that build were also sold the same fallacy, which is why they end up reaching out to me, because I have the playbook that actually bridges the gap. So they were also sold the blatant lie that if they build success in these other areas of their life, the girls will somehow there will be a switch that turns in all of their heads, all of these women's heads, and they will go, "Oh my God, Isaac, all of a sudden I know somehow some way that Isaac has this degree in engineering and he became a data analyst and now he's making six figures out in London, and because he just got his college degree, I know for sure that that's the guy for me. I'm going to give him a date. It's like that is somehow that's the twisted way in which the red pill theory has been applied, right? That's exactly what I thought. For some weird reason, logically, I knew this wasn't the case deep down, right? But for some weird reason, I thought, yeah, because these guys sold it to me. I thought that as soon as I get that programming certificate, and as soon as I land that remote programming job and I'm making six figures, and as soon as I hit a certain lean muscle body fat percentage, as soon as this stuff is true, all of a sudden, all the girls are going to go, oh my God, Ephraim, I noticed you're a programmer now. Wow, want to fuck me? Oh my Ephraim, wow, I noticed that you have a nice lean muscle physique. Yeah, do you want to go on a date now? Like, that's what I thought would happen, right? That's what is sold with all this red pill content. Build it, build the physique, build the career, build the high value status. Oh my God. And then all of a sudden, the girls are going to come up to you, right? And I still see some of these weirdos in my comment section talking about you shouldn't be approaching girls, let the girls approach you. And I'm going, what fucking planet does this guy live in? On what planet is the girl approaching you? I mean, is Tom Cruise in my comment section? You know what I'm saying? Is Michael B. Jordan in my comment section? Because that's the only fucking guy I can think of that girls are gonna approach. You know what I'm saying? Is it is Steph Curry commenting right now? Because unless you're a genetic outlier, right? Unless you're a 6'8" fuck and you play in the fucking NBA, or you're a worldwide, world famous celebrity superstar actor. Like, unless you're just genuinely in like the 1% category, girls are not going to approach you ever, ever. At one time in my life has a girl ever approached me, and it was on Valentine's Day, and she had a pre-made card that was being handed out at bars, and I was at that bar, and all she did was write her name and then write, "Hey, Mr. Cutie with a nose ring and the nice hair." And then on her way out of the bar, when she already was a few pints in, she just handed me the card, said hi, and then ran out. That's the closest to being approached that's ever happened to me ever in my life. And I've been alive for 25 years. And in 25 years, it took it being Valentine's Day, it took the girl having a pre made card given to her at the bar she happened to go to, and it took her just giving me the card and then running it, right, giving me the card with her phone number on it and then just running away without having a conversation. That's the closest to being approached I've ever gotten, right? So it's a fucking lie that the girls will approach you. They just won't. They just won't. I have a friend, my friend Balthus is like 6'6" and he lives in Belgium, and he goes around all the time and he never gets approached, right? This is the red pill guys talk about, oh, the girls will approach you. What the fuck? The guy's 6'6". The guy wears a nice swanky watch and he's got nice style. Yet the girls don't approach him, so certainly they're not approaching Mr. 5'9" Ephraim, are they? No, this is false, right? And then they take it another step and they go, okay, well, at least some of them at least admit that the girls won't approach you, but then some of them go, but, at the very least, if you get rich and you get ripped and you get look smacked, then at the very least, you're going to get all these choosing signals all of a sudden, right? You're going to get all the fucking choosing signals. Oh my God. So, firstly, right? Bravo, congratulations if you spent 10 years in the gym just to get a little bit more eye contact from a girl that you're passing, right? Bravo. Yeah, you spent 10 years getting your master's degree and getting that high paying job and getting that sick physique so you look so good with your shirt off, all so that you can get a little bit more eye contact from a girl when you walk past her, and maybe once every 100 months a girl that will bite her lip while she walks past you, maybe, and even that's a fucking stretch, right? Yeah, every third October a girl will flip her hair as she walks past you, and you spent all of this effort pouring into all of these different areas of her life so that you can get more choosing signals. Nice. But there's still a problem, isn't there? Is that even if, right, which these guys, what they're saying is a fucking stretch, because most guys would say I look pretty damn good, and I'm aware that I'm a very average height guy, but I mean I look pretty, and especially when I'm out in public and I'm social and shit, I do what's the word? Excrete. That's odd. Excrete this aura though. Yeah, this aura of like comfortability, of sociability. And I rarely get what these guys claim to be choosing signals. Now, maybe it's because I'm not wearing the flashy watch and the designer clothes like they claim you need. Maybe it's because I don't have the status and wealth signals like the I don't have the Ferrari key fob on my keys, right? Or I don't have all these status symbols. I don't have the Gucci glasses and shit, whatever. But let's say that is the case, right? Let's say that you spent 8 years getting your PhD, so now you're what is your scholar maxed, I guess, right? And then you spent 4 years in the process. So now you're gym max. You spent all this time working on your bench press and shit, and you were cutting carbs and you were meal prepping. Well done. And so now, let's just say in a perfect world, you've gotten to a point where you're getting, quote, all the choosing signals, right? What now? Right? Because we still have a very big problem. Remember the problem I introduced at the beginning of the stream? Yeah? Is you're still not, and I don't know if it's you specifically, but I imagine the guys watch my content for a reason, right? You're still not getting laid at the cadence you would like with the quality of women that you would like. Which is why you're watching Ephraim, the guy who's not looks maxed, the guy who's not money maxed, the guy who's not gym maxed, the guy who's not red pill. Why the fuck are you still watching my content if you've maxed out this whole red pill theory? It's because following this red pill dogma dog shit has still left you in a position that you don't want to be in when it comes to your dating life, which is now you have all of the external metrics. Now you've maxed out the money, and now you have the flashy Series S BMW. What is it? Series 3 BMW and shit. But you're still looking over at girls that are giving you visible choosing signals, we could even say, and you're not doing anything about it. Yeah? What are we doing with the signals that we're getting? Absolute god awful nothing. We're just looking back at the girls and then like getting nervous, and we're feeling a jolt of excitement. Oh my god, she gave me a choosing signal. All right, Jeremy, nice. Jeremy the lawyer, nice. She gave you a choosing signal. So why isn't she out on a date with you then? Oh, well, I don't know. It's because you're not doing anything with it, right? It's just stroking your ego. Yeah, your big biceps and your max bench press and your BMW, it's all just ego stroking shit because it's ego stroking, but it's not Willy Wonka stroking, is it? Yeah. The problem is you're still horny. The problem is you're still swiping on apps, and now all that's improved are the quality of your dating profile pictures because you have the money to hire a photographer and you have your BMW in the background of one of your photos and you have your watch nicely positioned on on the cover photo of your dating profile. And now you can put like the travel plane emoji in your profile because now you have a remote job. Congrats. But you're still relying on pathetic fucking methods. Yeah. So while you have more money in the bank than I do, while you have more muscle on your body than I do, while you're more looks maxed and gym maxed than I am the one who can get the date on command, and you're the one. You remember, I'm specifically talking to certain guys, but you are the one who's still dissatisfied with their dating life. Now, the good news is I've not put this live stream together just to shit on you. That's the good news, right? So I'm not talking to myself in a blank room with no fucking pictures on the wall in the middle of London, all because I'm trying to shit on you and gloat about myself and how good Ephraim is. No. The reason why I'm laying this out so bluntly for you is because I have a solution. Yeah, I've created a solution. Yeah, I've created a system that fixes this exact problem that you are experiencing as a guy who has already created fuckability. Yeah, so this is who I'm talking to. The reason why I'm pumping you up and then just low blowing you by saying you still are frustrated is because I get it. It's because I was there just a couple of years ago. I was there. I was in your shoes just a few years ago. I had also created success within a career, right? Six-figure programmer at 22. I had also created a decent physique. By no means was I bodybuilder status, but I had nice lean muscle. I looked good with my shirt off, still do. And to add on top of that, I also had a decent style and a decent look to me 2 years ago, right? But I found myself in the same position that my viewer finds themselves, which is, with all that being true, I was still going to sleep every night, lonely, dick in hand, watching the same porn, pissed off, sexually frustrated, and when I did finally get a girl to hook up with me once every blue moon, even less than that, because that's once a month, once every now and then, I guess that's once every new moon. I don't know, we're flustered here, but look, mine's everywhere. I've been live streaming every day for a month at this point. But what I'm getting at is, with all of these vanity metrics matching yours that you currently have, I still was sexually frustrated all the time. It still took me months at a time to get laid. All right. So we've debunked that women do not respond to what we were told they respond to nearly as much as we thought. All right. So we were told, Red Pill told us that women respond solely to looks, money, status, right? The combo, the LMS combo. Yes, yes, absolutely. That's gospel, is it? Now here's the problem. I'm missing two of those and arguably all three. All right. So the only one that I can kind of give myself is looks, right? Because I have a decent look to me. I'm not an ugly fuck, but I'm definitely not a male model, am I? And I'm also 5'9", right? So that cuts me down a few points right there as well, is that I'm below average height. So looks, I'm kind of there. All right. I'm doing all right. Money, non-existent, non-existent. I have way less money than I had 2.5 years ago when my dating life sucked. Way less. All right. And then status, also non existent. The only people who even know that I exist are my family and the handful of subscribers behind the curtain on this YouTube channel, which means the girls that I'm chatting to, they don't know who the fuck I am. I'm just this random gypsy looking guy on the street. They have no fucking clue who I am. So I'm missing two of three at the very least. I'm missing the money and the status portion that the red pillars claim is a prerequisite to having a dating life anywhere near mine. And then we could even argue I'm missing the third one because I'm a short fuck. So arguably I'm missing all three of the LMS strategy that they claim is a prerequisite to having any dates, let alone this kind of a dating life that I'm living. Yet I'm still living it. All right. So what are we getting at here? What are we debunking? They don't respond to these metrics nearly as much as we were taught that they do. Okay? What do they actually respond to then? Why is it that little old Ephraim is able to have this sort of a dating life without following the red pill dog shit? How is it possible that my dating life is better now that I reject all of the stuff that they're saying versus when I was following all the stuff that they're saying? It's because I have learned through action that women respond much more to other traits. So instead of physicality, oh, how cute is my boyfriend or my future boyfriend, rather than like, how cute is this guy, what weighs a lot more on her scale is how courageous is this guy. And courage means, can this guy face his fear? That's a very easy way to sum up courage. And I've learned that by and large, women respond much better to a guy that's not that cute, but that's courageous as fuck, compared to a guy that is male model, but is a pussy. All right? So if the guy has male model looks, but he simply is tail between his legs, scared of doing anything that takes any balls, i.e., actually walking over to her, then she would rather go with arguably the ugly fuck. We could even say the guy doesn't even look good, but he's so courageous that he's getting himself in front of her, walking over to her, and giving himself a shot. Versus the male model guy, his ego is so attached to his jawline and his fucking, what is it? What is the word? What's the word, John? If you're watching this, canthal tilt. Oh my god, these weird fucking weirdos. He's so attached to the symmetricalness. What is it? The symmetry of his face, and the fact that one eye is lopsided a bit. He's so scared. Male model guy is so worried about that. He would never ever risk, let's say, walking over to a girl and actually giving himself a shot and saying, hey, I like you, by the way. Do you like me? So obviously both would be better, right? If you're a male model with rock star courage, Nice, you cashed out. But the reality is, most guys don't have any courage. So if we're ranking what the girl is actually filtering for, then looks would be like down here compared to courage, which would be way the fuck up here. Okay? So that's the first thing. Red Pill didn't teach us to do things that stretched our comfort zone socially in order to build courage. It didn't teach us that. It told us just go to the gym and get the nice beard trimmer and make yourself look cute, get the little nose ring, get the cute hairstyle, and then the girls will fall all over you, they'll love you. False. They lied. That was a lie, okay? Yeah, so bravery, courage is a big one. All right. So another trait that I did not learn from the red pill rabbit hole and instead I learned from cold approach is assertiveness. So I've learned that women respond very, very well to a guy that is assertive compared to a guy that is passive. So when I say assertive, I mean a guy that is not afraid to speak his mind, not afraid to give his opinion, and not afraid to inject himself into her reality, into other people's spaces, into the world in general. And all that red pill taught us to do when it comes to assertiveness is how to like play stupid ass text games that make us seem assertive but not actually building the quality itself. They taught me how to assert myself into the gym and under the bench press and the squat rack, but not into the lives of the women that I actually wanted to date. Yeah. And so once again, if we're ranking looks LMS compared to a trait like assertiveness, maybe down here, right? How cute you are, how much money you have, and how much status you have could be here when we compare it to a guy that just fucking goes after what he wants in a very assertive, non apologetic way. Yeah? So, to wrap things up, boys, to the people that I'm actually talking to, what I'm trying to get at here is that you have been sold a lie and you've been on the wrong train the entire time and it sucks because I was on that same train. I just switched trains a lot earlier than you did. So the train that you're on is looks, money, status. Once I check all those boxes, all of a sudden the girls are gonna go, "Oh, Ephraim has looks, money, status now? Fuck yeah, let me drop my panties and sprint over to him." But it's never gonna happen. Yeah. And so rather than staying on that train, it's a great train. I would encourage you to keep one foot on it. Yeah. But rather than putting all of your focus into these areas, just work on them, sure, but don't think that they're going to get you the dating life that you're after. Instead, what's going to get you that life is actually walking over to these women, presenting yourself in front of them, and just giving yourself a shot. Because you would be surprised, and this is where the title comes in. The guys I'm talking to, right? Baseline level social skills, self-belief. They've got something going for them, and they like what they see to a certain extent when they look in the mirror. They don't think they're a fat, ugly fuck, right? So to those guys that I'm talking to, these are my clients that I typically work with. Also, they fit the same build. This is the whole point of the live stream. You right now, the person watching this. I just call you Jeremy for some reason. I don't know why Jeremy sticks in my mind. So let's just call you Jeremy. Jeremy, you are already dateable. The girls would already like you right now as is. Yeah, no more looks, money, status, maxing. You don't need to do any more of that shit. You already have a solid job. You already have a decent physique and a decent look to you. And you already have decent baseline social skills. There are plenty of girls in this world right now that would like you right now without having to spend 5 more years in the gym, without having to work your way up the corporate ladder any longer, yeah, without having to look smacks any further. They would like you today, right now, what is it, September 18th, 2025, without having to change a fucking thing except for your ability to actually put yourself in front of them. Yeah. So the issue, and this is where the gap is bridged. All right. So the issue is you're on one side of the cliff and the girls are on the other side of the cliff. And you need to figure out how to show what you've built in this world, show the value that you've built within yourself to the girl. She's not going to somehow know it just by looking at you and going, "Oh, that's a nice watch. Cool. Well, I guess I'm going to go blow him now." No, you still need to walk over to her and show her that you're a cool, fun, successful guy. Yeah, whatever traits that you have that are positive, you need to learn how to actually convey those traits to her. And you can't do it, unfortunately, over a dating app. Yeah, you can hire the nicest, flashiest photographer, and you can get him to get angles of your fancy watch. You can get him to get pictures of you leaning against your nice Porsche or McLaren or whatever fucking car you're driving. And sure, there are gonna be some girls that are gonna swipe on you because they think that you're gonna pay for their meals and shit. If that's what you're after, click off. Yeah, go get your McLaren and go fuck the gold diggers. And if that's what you're after, but the guys that reach out to me are after genuine connection with women who like them for them, not for their looks, money, status, money, blah, 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 but for the way that they're able to make them feel. Yeah, not because of their bank account. Yeah, they're that's once again, that's the whole red pill is spewing to just use like metrics like how fat is your wallet to try to dangle in front of women and hopefully you'll catch some fish by dangling your wallet. And I'm teaching you how to just reveal parts of yourself that they would already like without you needing a fat wallet, right? There's a reason why I've got next to nothing in the bank and I have no problem lining myself up with a date. Yeah, there's a reason why I'm 5'9", and I was told growing up I needed to be like 6 foot minimum to get any girls to like me, and I have no problem lining up a date. Yeah, it's because I've not only have I developed myself into a resilient, courageous person, but I've also learned how to peel back all of these red pill layers that were placed upon me in my early adulthood, such as, oh, you have to be abrasive and standoffish with the girl. You can't show too much interest to the girl. You have to be very passive and sit back, right? You got to let her do the chasing. All this shit that was just stacked upon me growing up, I've been able to peel that back. So now you watch my infield, and I'm not doing any of that shit that they claim is the way to get the date. Right? I'm walking over, and the first thing I'm saying, while they're saying, "Oh, don't be too forward. You want her to chase." Meanwhile, I'm the one walking in front of her, getting her to stop and going, "You look so good, like so beautiful." Yeah, violently opposing their whole spiel. Yet I'm the one who has no problem getting the date, right? So once again, I'm not making this live stream to shit on you. I'm trying to inspire you. I'm trying to take the mist away from your eyes and show you that all you need now is the bridge, right? You're on one side of the cliff, and on that cliff, you've already built success. You already look good enough. You already speak to people and can communicate your thoughts good enough. Now you just need to learn how to communicate this version of yourself that you've built to the hot girl that you want to bang. And unfortunately, a dating app is not a very good medium. That's a very wobbly bridge. When you use that, you're probably gonna fall down the fucking cliff, i.e., bang fat girls, like I used to do, right? Unfortunately, going out to nightclubs and bars and shit is not a very good bridge because it forces you to either get drunk and sloppily hit on girls that are also drunk in loud environments. And mostly I work with introverted guys who don't do well in those environments. Or the other end is you decide not to drink and then you're just like that somewhat odd guy, the only sober person in a club full of drunk girls trying to hit on the drunk girls while you're fully sober. And it's like, to me, it's kind of just a lose lose. It's like, on one end, I'm questioning like, why are you at that club, man? Like, that's a little interesting. And then the other end, I'm going, yeah, I mean, you're an introvert. You can do your best to yell over this loud Kanye West music that's playing, but it's probably gonna overpower you anyways, just like it does me. So that's another bridge that is not that viable. And then of course the classic one, the social circle, fuck your coworkers vibe. That's probably the weakest bridge of all. I mean, to be fair, I think it's a little better than dating apps, but I mean, come on, don't shit where you eat. Yeah, why are you gonna try to bang the girl you work next to in the cubicle next door just to have to see her on Monday morning and now it's a little bit awkward. Yeah, what if you didn't even like her? What if she didn't? Yeah. Anyways, and then friend group, same thing. It's like, oh shit, Ephraim, really? You fuck Sally, dude? Oh fuck me. Now we can't be. Now how are we supposed to go to the rave next weekend? We're all friends. Now there's gonna be this weird tension. Yeah. Instead, I just don't do any of that shit. And this is how I source my leads. This is how I get my dates. Is just complete unapologetic courage. I walk over to the girls as is without trying to portray any sort of fake persona, without wearing any sort of watch to try to portray status. You see what I'm saying? Without having any Ferrari or Porsche little thing on my key ring to show that I'm high value. Nah, I just walk over as is. This is pretty much the outfit I've been wearing. I wear thrifted clothes. Those clothes there, everything on that's hanging right there is under $10 combined. Yeah, this shirt, I've got 7 duplicates of it. The most expensive thing on my body is like this nose ring here, which I think is only like 14 karat or something like that. It's probably worth like $70. The most expensive thing is the nose ring, and I guarantee you I can line up dates without that, right? So you don't need the shit that they've been telling you that you need. You just need some courage and you need some balls. You just need the ability to actually present this value that you've built within yourself already, as is, Jeremy. You need to learn how to walk that value over to the girls and go, hey, what's going on? I'm Jeremy. I work as an attorney and I make good money and I'm a fun guy and I like to party. I like to go play volleyball at the beach with my friends. We like to sip Coronas on weekends. Yeah, and then I add the lime in there. Yeah, what about you? What about you, Sasha? Oh, yeah, you like that too? Cool. Well, maybe you and I can coordinate a time to do that together. How about that? Oh, yeah? Okay, well, Friday works for me too. Well, okay, wait, I got a case that I got to do Thursday night. What about Saturday? You just need to learn how to do that. And that's exactly what my playbook solves. That's what I teach you how to do. All right. So, so yeah, boys. If you're tired of hearing me yap on these live streams and my videos, you've seen enough videos, right? You've watched enough live streams, and you're just ready to go. You're tired of watching me line up dates. I'm tired of watching me line up dates. You think I'm kidding? I am tired of watching me line up dates. I'm so serious. Every day I'm out here for 27 days and we're just past the halfway mark. And I swear to God, every day I'm waking up, I'm going, fuck me. Oh, I gotta go out and line up some more dates now, and I'm not even going on the dates now. God, gotta get some more content for these guys, for them to actually believe in themselves. And don't get me wrong, I'm loving it. All right, I'm loving every day. I prefer this. I much prefer this to having to cold call for a boss that doesn't let me have my basic human rights. But no, I'd much rather just be coaching it. Yeah, so. Obviously, I'm gonna keep creating and keep filming until I've got some more clients in the near future. But yeah, I guess I'm just trying to communicate to you that I can keep lining up dates on camera for you if this helps you feel good about me. I guess I don't know what it's gonna help you with. Yeah, the content is really just it's to serve as kind of a hook. Yeah, so the infield is for you to like come across and go, oh, this is cool. Is this real? And then you go, oh, it's real. Okay, well, what is he? He must be like 6'5" though, right? Oh, he's 5'9". Okay, but he's probably like rich though, right? Oh, he's poor. Oh, fuck me. Okay, but he must be famous though, right? Oh, nobody fucking knows who he is. Who is this guy Ephraim? How is he doing this? And then inevitably, right, you watch a few more infields and you finally start to understand the message. And then you start to question, okay, but this is Ephraim though, right? He's like born confident. And then you start clicking around my live streams where I'm talking about, yeah, I used to be a nervous wreck. I used to just play Call of Duty and 2K every day. I used to just look down at the floor anytime I was speaking to a girl. I did not know how to flirt. I would ask girls out to prom over Snapchat. I would be DMing. So I'm saying all this shit, and then you're going, wait a second. So he's not looks maxed. He's not money maxed. He's not gym maxed. And he wasn't born confident. How the fuck is he doing this? And then inevitably, you will reach out to me so that I can teach you exactly how I'm doing this. Because I can. It's called the Quiet Confidence Playbook. It's already worked for a boat fucking load of all my clients. They're flying with the skill set. In fact, I'm linking up with Isaac this Saturday to give him some extra coaching and to be with him as he sets up some more dates. But yeah, boys, it's real. And it's available for you. It's accessible, right? Obviously, I'm talking to a specific archetype of guy. So if you know that you fit the build, then click the first link in the description below. Schedule that application call with me so we can see if we're a good fit. Because yeah, if I do agree to coach you, then your life will never be the same once you have this skill set. Now you can stop waiting passively in the shadows and watching the girls walk by and feeling bad about yourself. Now you can stop holding your cock on your toilet while you scroll Tinder trying to get a match, and then only it's a fat girl every few months that you're banging. Now you can stop being envious when your friends and your relatives show up to the barbecue and they've got a hot girl that they probably met because they went to school together, and you're just envious because you already DM'd all the girls that you went to school with, but they either were already taken or they weren't fucking with you, and you're like, damn it, damn it, damn it. You can stop feeling and living in this state of romantic scarcity, and you can start attracting the women that you're actually attracted to into your life and just get this sorted so that you never have to worry about it again and you can just move on to the next priority that you have in your life. All right. So link below in the description. I'll see you boys later. Onwards.